Any of the adults, we can set that up for you afterwards. But thank you all for coming out for worship this morning. It's good to be together. One of my professors at seminary always said that the first act of worship is simply showing up. And this is where our gospel lesson begins. Jesus, his disciples, and pilgrims from all over the world are in Jerusalem for the Passover festival. And then something unexpected happens. Who shows up along with Jesus and Jewish people from all over the world? Greeks. All right? And it's not clear exactly who these people are. All right? And yet it's pretty evident that they are outsiders. It is pretty evident that they are unexpected and pretty clear that they're not fully accepted. These people aren't listed as Jewish. They're only listed by their ethnicity, which apparently for some reason or another sticks out. And I think that their outsider status is cemented by what happens when these Greeks request to see Jesus. What is Philip's response to these people's desire to see Jesus? What does Philip do? He stalls, right? He hesitates, he delays, he makes them wait. Philip kind of acts like a gatekeeper. You want to see Jesus? Hold on just a second here. Let me go check. And the interesting thing to me is that he doesn't even go directly to Jesus then. He walks across and he talks to Philip, and he's like, yeah, man, these Greeks over here, they want to see Jesus. And then Andrew kind of looks at those guys. They look awful Greek, don't they? Let's go ask Jesus. So again, you have this like layers. It sure seems to me like these two disciples are trying to keep these outsiders from Jesus. I don't know what's up with that. Is it that they speak the wrong language? Is it that their skin isn't the right color? Is it that the disciples are worried that they're not religious enough to meet their teacher? The Bible doesn't say. But Philip and Andrew hesitate, they stall, they delay. And I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I've generally noticed that when people try to limit access to Jesus, it's not usually commended. What happens when there's a woman washing Jesus' feet with her tears, and religious leaders are like, she shouldn't be doing that. Jesus says, she has done a beautiful thing for me. Her sins are forgiven. And how about when the disciples try to keep children from coming near the Lord? Let the little children come to me. And as I reflect on how Philip and Andrew react to these Greek people who want to see Jesus, I wonder if I too, if the Lutheran Church, if the Christian Church has ever sought to limit access or restrict access to Jesus Christ. Erica and I got married after my first year of school in training to be a pastor. And the guy who married us, his name is Pastor Charlie, and we've known him for many years at church camp, and I've been lucky enough to have him as a mentor, as a pastor as well, years afterwards. And I can remember during our marriage counseling, we were talking, and I remember asking him what requirements he had for performing a wedding. He said, whose weddings would you do, basically? I wanted to know, as a pastor, what should I make people do before I marry them? And he said, unless there's some abuse or other destructive behavior going on, he said, I have no requirements to do someone's wedding. He said, same for funerals, same for baptisms. Pastor Charlie explained, he said, the couple, the family, the child at baptism, the kid at communion, the aunt or uncle watching the service, none of them might come to church yet. But I want them to know that the Lutheran Church is a place where God says yes. where God says yes to them. As Christians who also happen to be Lutherans, we believe in the sacraments. We believe that the sacraments of baptism and communion, that God is truly present, and that God is the actor bringing grace, forgiveness, and salvation into our broken, sinful lives. If this is true, and I believe in my core that it is, the last thing that I ever want to do is get between a person and the fire hose of love and mercy that is Jesus Christ. And I am grateful that you, the sinners and saints of St. Peter's Lutheran Church, embody this radical love and welcome of our risen Lord. I can remember a Sunday when there was a guy who came in after service looking for some financial help. And while somebody tracked me down, I came out and you guys had already gotten him a cup of coffee and you were hanging out with him and talking and getting to know him. You are committed to working at the school garden to feed anyone who comes to our cooking demonstrations, regardless of race, color, or creed. And you give generously to the LCA World Hunger to feed hungry people around the globe. Christians, Muslims, Jews, atheists, anyone who is hungry. Some of you might even remember the guy who came into worship with a gun and made us all evacuate. You told him that if he wanted to worship, all he had to do was put his gun in the safe and he could come in with us. That is radical welcome. And yet, every now and then, we need to be reminded and challenged by Philip and Andrew's response to the Greeks. These people that want to see Jesus. Have we ever felt the need to try to protect and defend God? I know I have. That's what I was trying to do with my question about marriages to Pastor Charlie. I want to make sure that God's grace doesn't accidentally end up going to the wrong person or someone who doesn't understand or deserve it. Let's play that back again. I want to make sure that God's grace doesn't accidentally end up going to the wrong person or someone who doesn't understand or deserve it. It sounds really crazy when I say it out loud. I, Jim Engel, want to protect the almighty creator of heaven and earth. Can you imagine me getting to heaven and Jesus saying, Jim, you were a little too loving. You were a little too accepting. You gave communion and baptized too many people. For those of you who know me well at this point, I think that's the least of my worries when it comes to my judgment someday. So let's put this fear down, this need to protect God down. Let's put away this feeling, this desire to be gatekeepers for God. So I want to invite us this week, try to outgrace God. And let me know how that goes. Our challenge this week, yours and mine, is to imagine some Greeks showing up and asking you to see Jesus. Who would these Greeks be? What would these outsiders, these unexpected guests, the ones who don't belong, look like? What will you do? What will you say to them? And perhaps, most importantly, will they see Jesus?